Good morning. Why does it not? Oh, there y'all are. Good morning. Okay, y'all. I know I've been saying this for like 3 weeks now, but watch this video. I hope the sound works. Hang on. I think I have to. All right. Of course, the sound's not working. Of course not. Hang on. I got to take me off. Okay, forget it. I can't get the sound to work. You see how soft that is? Hang on. Let me rewind it back. I wish that you see how soft that is? She is fully dilated. Fully dilated. Can y'all hear me? I hope y'all can hear me. Y'all, it has to be this week. You see how and she hasn't got a full sack of milk yet, but her tutu is like this big. Y'all can hear me? Okay, you see, that's from mucus, but that's been from a couple of weeks ago. They can lose mucus weeks before delivery. But see, there's no milk right there. It's not a sack full, but she does have milk. So you see, you can see when I push right there, that's milk. It's like starting to sack up. But the back, that cushion tells me that she's fully dilated. So it has to be today. Look at that. Look at her tail. Look at her little tutu. You can see the head is pushing against her tutu. Don't y'all think it's today? That is amazing. Okay. Let me read it. I thought I heard peacocks outside. I've been saying this for a while. I know that. But it has to be today. It has like if it's not, I'll fall out on the floor. Usually I can pinpoint it because I've been there. But I wanted to show y'all what she looked like the day she went in labor with Cinco. But I'll have to scroll through my phone. Okay, today we're getting serious. We're going to get serious about a topic that is hard to talk about. But before we get into that, oh, I forgot my curling iron. Well, you know what? Glasses are coming off. I'm just going to stick my hair in a ponytail. So yesterday, I felt okay. First of all, if I woke up, you know how people like when you go to therapy, they were like, "Let's check in. How you doing today?" If I checked in every morning at 7 o'clock, I would tell y'all that it's not a good day. I would say, I would say, I woke up, I'm not feeling it. I've got anxiety. That's how I would check in every single day. Because when I wake up in the morning, I'm not a ray of sunshine. Okay. I'm not that girl. Even though or I have become a morning person, I am not a ray of sunshine at 7 o'clock in the morning. So I have to be careful checking in because when I check in, I'm usually talking out of emotions because I wake up in the mornings and I'm going by a feeling. Okay. I'm not going about, I don't know if that makes sense. It's like I don't know how to explain it. I'm in a funk every single morning. That's the only way I know how to put it. So, like, I have to be careful checking in because, like, we could check in right now and I could tell you, I'm in a funk. I'm having a hard time. This happened. But then, like, by 8 o'clock, I've recovered and I'm ready to dance. But, like, from 7 to 8 o'clock, it is like straight up get out of the bed, jump on the struggle bus every single morning. Every single morning. So I have to be careful not to be negative Nancy and what is it, Debbie Downer, because I am. And I know that's not good for you, for me to be Debbie Downer and negative Nancy, because how am I supposed to teach you to dance if I can't figure out how to dance? So that's why from 7 to 8 o'clock, it's like when I'm talking to y'all, it's like I'm motivating myself. Like a lot of things that I'm talking about is like I'm reminding myself that I don't need to sit it out. Okay. So know that I wake up not good every single morning. I wake up thinking about everything negative. Yeah, just call me Nancy. Just call me Nancy. Hang on, my moisturizer's behind my computer. That's not my moisturizer. Hang on. Okay. I did something really stupid yesterday. Yesterday, I felt so good. I had so much energy yesterday, and I felt like I was about to be a rock star, right? Like I am feeling good. Everything is going good. I woke up negative Nancy because I felt bad that I could not go to church because people were sending me messages saying he is risen. And I was like, yeah, I know I need to be going to church and wearing a cute Sunday dress, like a little Easter dress. And I felt, I was seeing other farms and their family pictures. And I'm like, this sucks. Like everybody, like the husband is in his cute little suit and his little seersucker suit, and his kids look all cute, and the wife's all cute, and they're sitting there smiling, saying he is risen. And then there's me over here. And I'm like, and I almost went live for the people that do not have like family per se, or their kids are grown, or they can't go to church either for health reasons. I was like, me and them need to talk. But then I felt like negative Nancy, and I was like, I might pull them down because I'm not feeling good today at all. So it is a trigger for me during the holidays to get on social media. And I don't know if y'all get me, but it is a huge trigger for me because you know how like you're scrolling through Facebook and it's Easter and you see the family pictures and you're like, it must be nice. It must be it must be nice, because I felt like I really, because of the situation I'm in, I'm not going to say why because I don't want to say why, but you know why. But I can't leave my house and go to church or be gone because I have a responsibility at my house that can't be left alone. And it's surely God understands. You know what I'm saying? So like it just was a hard day for me yesterday morning, but then I got myself out of it. And I went, hey, today is the day. Today, it's like we are going to get up and we're going to get over this negative Nancy crap. And we're going to go out there and we're going to clean some chicken coops, because I tell you all the time, when you are negative Nancy, distraction is your best friend. It is your best. If you can go get yourself distracted, like clean out a closet, clean your house, clean out a chicken coop, the distraction will become your best friend, because what ends up happening is the distraction distracts your brain from being negative Nancy. So I get out there and I just become the crazy chicken lady. And I begin to start cleaning out chicken coops. Okay. Please note that Kayla and I have been so busy with field trips and tours and Larry that we have neglected cleaning because we ain't got time. I mean, we're running back and forth trying to take care of Larry, and we're trying to take care of field trips and tours and all the stuff. Like for example, this week, Larry has 3 appointments this week. So Kayla's not going to be here because she's going to have to take Larry to these appointments, which means I'm here and I have field trips. And so we have neglected cleaning out the coops because we have not had time. And so I was on a mission yesterday to clean out the daggum coops. Well, I did. Show did. Cleaned out every one of them but the duck house. And I made myself completely sick from not using a mask. Tell me how dumb that was. My allergies are all jacked up. And Shane came out there. He goes, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Why are you cleaning out all this poop and all this sand and all this dust without a mask?" I'm like, "Because I couldn't find a mask." And he was like, "Judy, you're gonna die." And I was like, "No, I'm not." And he was like, "Yes, you are. You can get a lung disease or lung infection or some crap he's telling me from chicken poop." He was like, "Do not do that." Well, I did it. And I know better because I've done it before and I've made myself sick. So you would think my brain would go, "Judy, you need to go get a mask before you go clean out the coop." No, hardhead Judy just went with it. And now I've made myself sick. And I was talking to Kayla this morning. She was like, "Judy, the last time I cleaned out the chicken coop without a mask, I literally went home and threw up and had to get in the bed." It makes you so sick. Because if you think about ingesting all that crap, and I will tell you that cleaning out the chicken coop, just don't do it without a mask. Don't be like me and Kayla, okay? Because we have no sense at all. Anyway, so I've dealt with that. All right, let's get on to what we need to talk about. I firmly, now you can agree or disagree, but I firmly believe that depression, addiction, any struggle that you have, I believe comes from PTSD. That is me personally. I feel like we all carry PTSD with us for the rest of our life. Meaning, if you don't know what I mean is the crap that happened to you when you were young, or it carries, you carry that baggage with you. Like the way you were raised. I don't know, your mom could be a rock star mom. Let's just say she's a rock star mom. But for some reason in your head, when you were little, she did this one mistake in her life, let's just say. I'll give you an example. My mother was a pretty good mom. I mean, she had her issues, but doesn't all parents? I feel like all parents do the very best they can do at the time they are. They're not always the best, but like you're trying to just survive. Like you've got all this stress in your life and you're just trying to be a mom and get them to the ball practice and get them through school. And you've got the stress of work and all this stuff. My mother had the stress of divorce and all that. And I think that mom did the very best she can do. But I remember this one time, and y'all know, when I meet y'all in person, y'all are scared to say, it's funny. It makes me laugh. Y'all are scared to say a bad word in front of me. Y'all are scared to smoke a cigarette in front of me because I'm a freakazoid. Like I don't say bad words, or I hate cigarettes, da, 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 and I don't want y'all to feel like that around me because I'm not that way. But anyway, I'm probably going to make you think you can't smoke a cigarette in front of me. But anyway, okay, this particular, I'm going to say, and I've told this story before, I'm going to say I was probably 10 years old. Okay, we had, back when I was young, the thing for us to do is go to the skating rink, okay? That was like the thing to do. Well, we had some type of party. I think it was a birthday party or something. So normally when you go to the skating ring, you're not going with your parents, okay? You're like, but this particular time, my mother was at the skating rink with us. So I think I was at a birthday party or something. Well, my aunt no, sorry, that didn't happen. My mom was at the skating rink with us. Well, there was this room and they were called the party room. And in the party room, there was a party room that you could smoke cigarettes in the party room. Oh, yeah, it was back in the day. You could smoke cigarettes in the party room. And that's also where the birthday party opened presents and ate cake and all that stuff. Well, I was out there skating away, with my parachute pants on or whatever I was wearing. Okay. Okay. And I came to the party room. And when I walked around the corner, my mother was smoking a cigarette. And I literally had a heart attack. My mom doesn't smoke cigarettes. Okay. And I came around the corner and I saw my mom smoking, and I had a complete panic attack in the middle of the skating rink. And my mother thought it was funny. Like she was like, I cannot believe that Judy is so overreacting because I was smoking a cigarette. Okay. Okay. Where my mom thought it was super funny that she was smoking a cigarette and I was having a panic attack about it. It was devastating to me as a kid. That happened when I was 10 years old, and I am fixing to be 53, and I still can feel the pain that I felt the day that I saw her smoke the cigarette. Now, why did that trigger me? Because at the time, my dad didn't have lung cancer. So like today we talk about, why I'm a freakazoid about smoking. And I think it's, I like to say, okay, this came from my dad dying of lung cancer, Larry having COPD. I've never seen anything good come from smoking cigarettes. So like, I think in my head, that's why I'm a phobe about cigarettes. But I often wonder if it's the PTSD that came from me when I was 10 years old, when I walked around the corner and saw my mother smoking a cigarette. It was like devastating to me. And as a matter of fact, for after that happened, I was like having nightmares about it. Like it was like really, really, and I know it's the silliest thing to have a panic attack and be that affected by my mom smoking a cigarette. And I often wonder where that came from. Like what, why did I freak out over my mom smoking a cigarette? But that situation follows me to this day. As a matter of fact, when I was young, and and this did not help that my mother thought it was hilarious that I was acting like a freakazoid about her smoking a cigarette. It made the situation 10 times worse because she was laughing at me and I was feeling pain. Like the pain that I was feeling in the moment was so detrimental to me. I was devastated. Okay. And when you're having a panic attack in front of your friends and all that stuff, it's embarrassing. So it was a true moment. And after that situation happened, I literally would cry myself to sleep every single night over my mom smoking a cigarette. I would have nightmares. I would go to school not sleeping because I would have nightmares about my mom smoking cigarettes. And like right now I can laugh about it and go, "Man, that was really stupid. Like why?" I mean, it wasn't like it was, the end of the world. My mom was just smoking a cigarette. But I think what it was is, how as a child you kind of think that your parents are perfect, like they don't lie, they don't, you kind or I thought that you kind of like look up to your grandparents as if they're, you know, God. And my grandparents would never get in a fight, or my grandparents would never say a bad word or smoke a cigarette. They go to church all the time, and you put them up on this pedestal. And I think what happened for me is I did not think that was something my mother would do. Did y'all grab your protein? I think I've really not done a lot of thinking about why that devastated me so bad. Probably need to break it down and figure out where that came from. But it was just a letdown. It was a letdown to realize that my mom wasn't perfect. Because, like, I didn't think my mom smoked cigarettes. Like, I thought other mom or other dads did that. Like my dad smoked cigarettes and my dad didn't bother me. So why was it so devastating to my mother smoked a cigarette? And the only thing that I can link it back to is because I'm out of powder. Okay. The only thing I can link it back to is because I didn't think she did it. So it was a shock to me to realize that she did it. And it was a letdown to me. What I'm getting at is it's hard to break up with PTSD. And what happens is when we as individuals do not deal with our crap that happened when we were young, we just keep carrying it on with us. And even though, listen, I've had so much counseling, it is unbelievable. Like, I have been in counseling since 2010. Okay. And I have dealt with a lot of demons from my past from PTSD. And I can't break up with it. Like, I can't break up with PTSD. It is so hard to break up because what happens is you think you're good. You're like, okay, well, I have dealt with this issue like a divorce, let's just say. Okay, well, I have dealt with my divorce. I've let go of my anger for my ex-husband. I'm doing well. Like, I've moved past it. And then what happens is if you get remarried, you carry all that PTS with you carry all that PTSD with you to your next marriage. I don't care if you've been to counseling or not. You carry that PTSD with you to the next marriage. And even though you sit here and you're like, well, I've been to counseling. Yeah, my ex-husband cheated on me or whatever, and he's a POS. My kid's dad's a straight up POS, like I've dealt with it. I've let go of my anger. Like, I'm not mad at him anymore. And then all of a sudden, something will trigger you and you go right back to that bad place. Do y'all know what I'm talking about? Like, I have my biggest fear, and I've talked to y'all about this before, but I do have some new followers. My biggest fear is to be homeless. So crazy, isn't it? It's so crazy. I don't know this for sure. I think the fear of homelessness is my PTSD from the way I was brought up. I was very poor growing up. I did not have the designer jeans. I did not have the big house. I was there with a single mom trying to make ends meet. I were like, this is disgusting. Okay, this is disgusting. But we lived in a house that had a creek right in our backyard. So oftentimes, gopher rats, okay? I'm not talking mice. I'm talking gopher rat, like this big. We would get gopher rats in our house all the time as a kid. And I can remember like having people spend the night and like we would get up to get a snack and there'd be a gopher rat this big in my kitchen. And like I can remember the embarrassment because like I would go to her house and her parents were married and she would have a big old 2-story house with a nice bedroom that was painted, and I had paneling on my walls, and I had gopher rats in my kitchen. And like I can remember feeling like it was almost as if I was feeling homeless because I didn't have what my friends had, because every single person's house that I went to, they had carpet. I'm saying sheetrock, like all those nice things, But for like me that grew up very poor, and I remember being made fun of because I didn't have the Calvin Klein jeans and I didn't have the Gloria Vanderbilts. And I can remember being in sixth grade, and that's all I wanted was a pair of designer jeans. But we were poor. We really were. And I didn't really realize it was poor. I thought it was, I don't know what I thought it was. Less fortunate. I don't know what the word was. But I just remember feeling homeless, like feeling shame, feeling embarrassment. All those words is how I felt living the way I lived. It just felt not good. And I think that sense of homelessness, I think in my brain, I fear going back to living in the rat house, to living poor, to being embarrassed to have friends over at your house. And if you're like me, if you're embarrassed to have friends over at your house because you're a hoarder, or your house is not nice, or you don't, like, you have paneling on your walls, you don't have pretty, whatever it is, I feel you, girl or boy. I feel you, because that is exactly how I lived. And I feel like that PTSD of being a child, being embarrassed because I had rats in my house, I think I go back to that fear, and that is PTSD. It is hard. Oh, I don't have my preaching stick. Oh my gosh. That, my folks, is PTSD. That fear of homelessness that I fear, and all that trauma. And the trauma that I had was not like, it's not like my mom could help it. You know what I mean? It wasn't because my mother was a bad mom. No, 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 no. It is just, we all have PTSD. We have all been through traumatic situations that cause PTSD, and it follows us the rest of our life. You don't get over it. The divorce that you went through, or the breakup you went through in high school that caused like some traumatic emotions to go on in your head, that you could like, there's situations that you were in, let's just say in high school or your first marriage or whatever, that you could sit here and tell me the story and bawl your eyes out. You know what I'm talking about? Like the story that, like, if you sat here and told me about your first husband or your first wife and how she cheated on you and left you, you could relive that story to me and go, okay, tell me about your wife. Tell me about your wife that left you. Tell me. And you would sit here and tell me about it. And it happened 30 years ago, and you would cry as if it happened yesterday. That is PTSD, and that follows you the rest of your life. So what do you do with PTSD? Let's talk about it. PTSD is real. When I tell you, I feel like it's harder to break up, like people in addiction, I'm just going to talk about myself, me with the eating disorder. Okay. I feel like it's easier for me to break up with the eating disorder than it is to break up with the PTSD. Because every time I think that, like, I'm over it, it sneaks back up all the time. All the time. And it's something that first of all, you have to be aware of your PTSD. You have to be aware of it, because I'm going to tell you something. If you're not, then you don't know what your triggers are. Does that make sense to you? Let's have a drink on it. Oftentimes, prior to me understanding my triggers, I didn't know what it was. Like, I didn't even recognize things that set me off. It was just, they just made me mad, or you hurt my feelings. I don't know. I could look at Shane, and Shane could say something to me, and I could get so upset that he's looking like he says something, it triggers me. I go into crazy land like I did when I saw my mom smoke the cigarette. Like he says one little thing to me, I go into la la land. I'm having a complete meltdown where, I don't know, let's just say that I'm driving down the road and he says something that triggers me, and I'm so upset that I have to pull over on the side of the road. And he's like, "What the is wrong with you?" And I'm like, "You just hurt my feelings." And he's like, "Dude, you need to get you need to get over it." Like, what the heck? Okay, we're going to look at that from two sides. Number one, I know myself so well that I know what my triggers are. I know what sets me off. And I know why it sets me off, and I know what to do about it because I have so many tools in my pocket that I can pull them out. But that doesn't mean that when I am in the PTSD moment that I just got triggered, that I can go, "Whoo, that's PTSD. Let me not pull off on the side of the road and have a panic attack." Okay, I'm not that good. I'm not that good. But let's just say Shane says something to me, like I said, that God love him, that makes me pull off on the side of the road because I'm having a panic attack about something that he said. I'm not able to process it immediately. I will maybe have a panic attack because of my PTSD. Okay. But when I get away from it, what do I do? What tools do I pull out of my pocket to go, this hurts really bad? And I feel like I cannot breathe because of what he just said to me. What is this? What is this that's causing me to, and I'm gonna share this one thing with you. Shane and I laugh about this to this day. But when we first got married, you know, we bought a tractor. We call it my tractor because it has a lawnmower on it. It's a small tractor. And I was very, you know how I'm fearful of driving the big tractor. Okay, I was fearful of driving the little tractor. I mean, like seriously feared. Okay. And I remember when we got it, he said, "I'll buy this tractor if you cut the grass." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll do it." Yeah, I'll do it. So he got me out there with the tractor and he goes, "Okay, get on it." And I'm like, "No." And he's like, "Get on the tractor." And I'm like, "No." And he was like, "What the heck? Oh, this tractor just cost $17,000. Get your butt on the tractor. You're fixing to learn to cut the grass." And I want you to know that right there in my backyard, I go into a panic attack. I am bawling my eyes out, going, "Please don't make me get on this tractor. Please, please, please." And he's like, "Okay, Shane doesn't know the PTSD that I had. He doesn't know what this crap is that's going on right now. But I'm in a complete, like, cannot breathe panic attack because he's making me get on the tractor." And he's like, "This girl is a freak. Like, she won't even sit on this tractor." What was happening in the moment was PTSD. My ex-husband would not let me touch any of his stuff because I might mess it up. Okay. I wasn't allowed to drive his car. I wasn't allowed to drive his truck. I wasn't allowed, like, I didn't do anything right. I couldn't put up the groceries right. I couldn't put the sheets on the bed right. There was nothing that I could do because he could do everything better than me. So that PTSD that I went through that marriage and the way he was, which had nothing to do with me, it was all his junk. Okay. His OCD had nothing to do with Judy. But in the moment, you couldn't have convinced me of that. What went on in my head was, I don't know how to do it. I might, if I drive his car, I might wreck it. or I might get a piece of trash on his floor and he'll get really mad at me. So, like, all that PTSD carried with me to the next relationship. So when Shane said, "You're going to get on the tractor," and I go into complete meltdown panic mode and I'm on the floor basically crying because he's forcing me to get on this tractor, all what was going on in my head was, what if I wreck it? Oh my God, he's gonna divorce me. I'm gonna be in trouble. Oh my gosh, this costs so much money. And so all that crap followed me. And when I looked at Shane and he said, "I can't find my thing," when he goes, "What is wrong with you? Why are you like acting a fool over sitting on the tractor?" I said, "I'm scared I'll wreck it." He goes, "Judy, I can fix anything that you tear up. Get your butt on the tractor. I'm not mad if you wreck it. I'm not mad if you flip it. Like, I will fix it. I can fix everything." And I was like, "Seriously? Like, seriously?" And he was like, "Judy, I can fix anything." And so you can see where that PTSD caused that trauma, because it was a trauma response when he said, "Get on the tractor." It was a trauma response. It's hard to break up with trauma. To this day, when Shane makes me try something new, I start to go into a panic attack because of the trauma that I went through with my last husband. I go through like feeling like I can't breathe and stuff. But see the difference, I can't find my dang gum. I guess I'm not using it. The problem where healing comes from is having the tools in your pocket. So when Shane says, "Come on, we're going to learn how to drive the excavator," I'm like, "Oh no, Joker, I'm not learning how to drive the excavator. I have no desire to do that." And he's like, "Judy, get on the excavator. We're fixing to learn how to do it." And I'm like, "No, Joker, I am not. I am not doing that." I have to pull tools out of my pocket and go, "What is okay?" First of all, I have to figure out what the heck. Why am I freaking out over this tractor? And I had to learn that I carried that PTSD with me, like that. Living with someone with OCD, you constantly feel like you do things wrong. And it's not that that person is trying to make you think you do things wrong. It's his illness. It's his problem. But he thinks that he does everything better than me. And when you live with that as a person that lives with someone with OCD, you think you're not good enough. And to rebuild your confidence after you've been with a person for 15 years and you haven't been good enough for 15 years, it causes some trauma and it causes PTSD. And again, if you need to listen to what I'm saying, it is hard to break up with PTSD. The tools that you have to put in your pocket is, first of all, awareness. You have to know yourself. Let me just say this. This lady, she's a skincare lady, and she told me that I was giving her major anxiety because my makeup brushes are dirty. And I'm thinking, God, majority of them are brand new. I got them from Christmas from my followers. But she said now that one is pretty jacked up. I mean, that one, I can see her having anxiety over it. But like, I don't know. I'm sorry I caused you anxiety for my makeup brushes, but don't follow me for makeup tips. And I tell you that all the time. I'm just getting ready. I'm not here to learn how to put it on right. I just put it on, right? Okay. All right. Let's back to our story. So the first thing that you have to do is be aware. Like if you sat here right now and I said, "Okay, tell me what's your PTSD?" Do you know? You have to think, you have to go back to childhood and you have to remember trauma. and it's terrible. You have to remember the trauma of mom and dad or uncle or aunt or brother, sister, whatever. You have to remember the trauma that if you told me the story right now, you would bawl your eyes out. That is trauma. That is the PTSD that I'm talking about. You have to think today, you're going to think, what are my triggers? What sets me off? Why does it set me off? What's causing this anxiety? When that person said this to me, why am I in outer space? Why do I wake up and get on the struggle bus every morning? Those are the things that you have to say to yourself to understand what your triggers are. Because it's you have to admit and listen, you've got to understand that when you start figuring out what your triggers are, it's going to seem like silly stuff today. Like, my trigger is that my mom smoked a cigarette in the skate haven. And you're like, that's the stupidest thing. My trigger is I fear being homeless. Dude, are you kidding me? It seems like the silliest, stupidest stuff that is your trigger. But when I sit here and tell you I cannot find my makeup brush, when I tell you, I want you to understand that sometimes we can sit here and go, dude, listen, I fear being homeless. And I tell y'all this, can't you see me homeless? Like, I would be holding a committee to figure out how to get blankets or what is the best interstate to collect the most money from. I can see me being the head of the homeless people going, okay, let's talk about this. Okay. Yes, being homeless sucks. We don't have enough blankets, so we need to group together to kind of figure out what we're going to do to survive this winter. Okay, we need to be prepared. Can't you see me rallying the meetings? So like I laugh about it because it's really silly to fear being homeless. It's really silly because I'm never going to be homeless, and I know that. But it's still a trigger. And sometimes when it comes to Shane, let's just say, God love him, but it comes to Shane, he will trigger me in a second with homelessness. He will trigger me in 0.2 seconds. Does he understand it? Mm-mm. Mm-mm. And your spouse may not understand your triggers. And I can sit him down and go, okay, look, dude, let me explain something. Back when I was a kid, I could sit here and explain to him everything that I'm saying to you and go, dude, when you do this, it triggers my homelessness. Like, you send me to a really bad place when you say this. And he's looking at me like, ain't my problem, it's your problem. And you know what? He doesn't say that, but I'm just saying, he's looking at me like, like, you're really weird, Judy. Like, you're really, really strange. But see, I trigger his PTSD. And to be honest with you, our fears are the same. Shane and I fear. Now, does he say, I fear being homeless? No. Shane does not say that. Those are not his words that he says. Those are words that I say. I fear being homeless. Shane will go, let's see, I'm trying to think of a situation that he would say. I laugh at him because he's always like, I'll do this, but you're going to do your part. You're going to do, I'm not paying for it all. You're going to do your part. And I had to go, what the crap does that mean? It's like when he says you're going to do your part, it's almost as if he's saying, I'm scared of being homeless. I'm not paying for everything. I'm scared of being homeless. But does he say those words? No, those are words that Judy says. Shane will say, I'm not doing it all. You're going to do your part. You're going to have a hand in this too. Because I think Shane's fear, he's never said this out loud, but I think Shane's fear is being taken advantage of. Shane has had past relationships where girls have socked him a new one. They've left him with nothing. So Shane has that PTSD of getting everything taken from him. And I had this PTSD of being homeless. So you see how they're both the same. And Shane and I could trigger each other. You see what I'm saying? Like I could say, I'm scared if something happens to you, I'm going to be homeless. And he's like, don't be dependent on me for everything. You can figure it out yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's like we kind of, you see how the PTSD is similar? The difference is you've got to learn what your triggers are, because you have to recognize them when someone triggers you. Does Shane mean to trigger me to be homeless? No, Shane doesn't want me to fear being homeless. Shane freaking loves me. He doesn't want me to fear that. But see, when you're in the middle of a moment where you're triggered by PTSD, unless you recognize it, you don't know how to deal with it. And oftentimes when I get triggered about the whole homelessness thing, I'll tell you what tools I bring out in my pocket. The first, I recognize whatever just happened, I'm not feeling good inside me. Like it is not like I am feeling anxiety. I'm feeling panic. I'm feeling like I can't breathe. My head hurts. I want to leave. I want to run. I want to get the crap out of here. Like all that in my head, I have to be aware of what's going on and pause. Did you hear me? When you feel like running away, you don't physically go get your bags and pack them and put your shoes on and run like Forrest Gump. Okay? You pause. You pause and go, this is not feeling good. Like what's going on in this brain of mine, I am not feeling good at all. I'm not. And what is causing this? We have to say to ourselves, what is causing this pain in me? That's when, I told you guys that I have been through Al-Anon. I have a sponsor. That's when I pick up the phone and go, Carolyn, help me. And she's like, okay, we'll make a call at 1:00. And then I go, doctor, I need an appointment, because I have to go deal with this PTSD, because if I leave it alone and just store it away, I don't recognize it and I can't get better at it, because it's hard to break up with PTSD. Okay. It is. To me, my eating disorder is much easier to deal with versus PTSD. Just saying. So I got on the phone with my sponsor and I had to go, something's wrong with me. I literally had a panic attack, had to pull over on the side of the road and give myself a minute. And the first thing she said to me was, good job for giving yourself a minute. That's good. It's good that you called me and you recognize that you're struggling. So let's talk about it. And so once I'm able to talk about it and figure out what's wrong with me, I say, oh, it's that PTSD again. It won't go away. I want to break up and it just will not break up with me. It will not. It keeps haunting me. And like every time you think, oh, I think I'm over it. Like I think I'm healed of this PTSD. It comes right back. It is hard to break up with. It is a trauma response that is terrible to break up with. So the tools that are in my pocket is my sponsor, my doctor, a friend, recognizing that I have the issue, going to get help and not try to do it alone. Those are things that I have in my pocket that I can pull up and go, listen, this is what's happening. I have no idea what's wrong with me. And then my sponsor can go, stop for just a minute. What step are you in? And I'm like, I'm in step 1. I didn't cause it. I can't control it and I can't cure it. Okay. I cannot. Okay, good. Okay. And when you build up, sometimes when there's PTSD that triggers a trauma response, if you don't go deal with it, you'll hold resentment. Oh yeah. If you do not deal with your trauma, you will hold on to resentment to the person that caused you to feel that trauma. Not the person so much that caused the trauma, but the person that's making the trauma response active in the moment. You'll hold resentment against them if you don't go deal with your trauma. And then resentment is terrible. You hear me? It is terrible. If you do not fix whatever's triggering you in your head and realize it really has nothing to do with the person that's saying things to you, okay? If Shane triggers me to have the homelessness trauma trigger, and I don't deal with it and realize that that didn't come from Shane, that came from me, and how I'm dealing with what Shane just said. Now, does that mean that Shane said something that wasn't ugly? No. It does not mean that Shane was sugar sweet that day. He was a butthole, a straight up butthole and rude, okay? That can happen, and there's times when I'm a butthole to him and I trigger him. Okay, so yes, we're human beings, but I have to realize that that me getting on the struggle bus and then getting off the struggle bus and going to outer space with this trauma did not come from Shane. Shane just ignited that trauma and I went to outer space. That is on me. We have to be so strong within ourselves that when people trigger us that we don't go to outer space. But it doesn't mean that you're a bad person if you got triggered by trauma and went to outer space. The problem is when you stay in outer space. That's when it becomes an issue, is when you stay, like a week has gone by and you're still resentful towards something that your spouse said. That's when you're in trouble. Now, can we control what our spouse says to us? No. Mm-mm. But we can control what we do with what they say. So if Shane says something, like if Shane says, I'm just going to make up a story. I want a new boat. Okay. I want a new boat. And I'm trying to convince Shane that we need this boat because I want to go fishing on Saturdays. Okay. And he says, okay, well, I'll tell you what. I'll give you $5,000 to go buy this boat. But I ain't giving you the whole $10,000 to buy that boat because you're going to do your part. And he says it just like this. I'm not buying the boat. I'll give you some money to go towards that boat. But by golly, Judy, you're going to do your part. Okay. This is what I hear. I, I hear, let me think about what I hear. Let's see. He says, go get a boat. I hear, you're not important enough to me to give you, let's just say that let's just say he has $10,000. Okay. And he's like, I'm not giving you the whole 10,000. I'm just going to give you the five to go buy that fishing boat. Okay. I hear, you're not important enough for me to spend $10,000 on you. I'll give you five, but you're going to work your A off too to get that other part for that fishing boat. Okay. That's what I hear. Did he say that? Sorta. He sorta said it, but he triggered me that if he loved me, he wouldn't sit there and say that. If he loved me, he would, you know, he wouldn't say it. It would be a team effort. He wouldn't say it the way he said it. He would say, I've been wanting a fishing boat too, and that would be something fun for us to do on the weekends. Maybe together we can pull together and we can figure out how to get this fishing boat. And then I would have felt very safe because I'm like, oh, he wants to be a team with me. We can go fishing together. Oh, you know what I'm saying? But when he says, well, I'll give you 5,000, but by golly, you gonna take your 5,000 to put with that fishing boat because you ain't running over me. See, I triggered him. I triggered his. I'm when I say I want a fishing boat, I think in my head, Shane's thinking I want him to pay for it all. And that's what I'm not thinking that in my head. I'm not thinking that at all in my head. I'm just wanting his approval that I can go, that he has my blessings to go buy it myself with my own money. That's what I'm thinking. Like, I just want, sure, Judy, you can go buy a fishing boat. But you see what I'm talking about? You see how we can interpret things totally different. And the person that says it to us, like when I say, hey, I want a fishing boat, he thinks, oh, she just wants all my money. She just wants everything I have inside me. Do you see what I'm talking about? And it's the truth is, I want the fishing boat and Shane wants the fishing boat, but we're triggering each other by what we're saying. Now, if I would have said to Shane, hey, I I got, I don't know, I won the lottery and I got $10,000, Shane. And I was wanting to invest this $10,000 in us a fishing boat so we can spend more time together. Shane wouldn't have been triggered at all, if I said it that way. Or if I said, you see what I'm saying? I hope that I'm making sense. So the main thing is just knowing what, and I'm going to say it again. If you tell me a story and you're going to bawl your eyes out telling me the story, that is something that probably triggers you with PTSD when someone says something to you that triggers that moment, that pain in you that happened when you were young or, you know, not necessarily young, but younger than you are today. It triggers you. When you know your triggers is when you don't go and stay in outer space. You go, okay, this hurts really, really bad. And I am going to a really bad place in my life right now because of what this person said to me. Okay, let me dig deep in my pocket and figure out what tools I need to bring out to deal with this because this is not fun. I feel anxiety. I feel stress. I feel hurt. I feel pain in this moment. What is this that I'm feeling? Where is this coming from? You know? And probably like today with the whole cigarette thing, I lost my father from cigarettes. Okay. So that's a trigger to me. Okay. So I think when I see someone smoke, it's not that I'm judgmental or I'm, because there's crap I do, right? I'm not judging you. But I guess in my head, I'm thinking, I don't want to lose you. And I have PTSD from cigarettes. And I'm scared that I'm going to lose you. I'm scared you're going to get lung cancer. I'm scared to death. Like, I'm fearful. So it's not that I'm being judgmental and go, do not smoke around me. You can all smoke around me. I'm not a freak. Okay. I'm not freaking out because someone's smoking a cigarette. I am not. Okay. I am not. So do not think that anybody can smoke in front of me. My kid smokes in front of me. Okay. I'm not a freakazoid about cigarettes. Okay. It's just that um when I love someone, I want them to be completely balanced and healed, and I don't want them to have any struggles. Okay? Just like it would be the same thing if you saw me starving myself and I'm like, me and you go to dinner and I just sit there and I don't eat. You're like, eat, Judy, eat. Like, you've got to eat. And you're like, you're scared of losing me because you're like, I don't want her to be like have an eating disorder and go on dialysis and be in the hospital and have a freaking feeding tube and all the stuff. You know what I mean? Like, you do the same thing with my struggles. It's like no different. It would be like me doing that in front of you. You're like, but I don't want to lose you, Aunt Judy. You mean a lot to me. I want you to eat. I want you to quit drinking those Coke Zeros and exchange it with water because I love you. I want you to be okay. It's the same thing. You get me? It's the same thing. I'm getting long-winded. PTSD is real. If you do not know what your triggers are, you can't get better. You're not going to be balanced because people are going to trigger you all the time. And you've got to know what to do with the trigger. And you got to know where that pain is coming from. And it's crazy that you would think that pain would come from something that happened when you were 10 years old. But it does. It is hard to break up with PTSD. You hear me? Trauma is a serious thing. And it does not go away. If you do not learn how to deal with your if you do not know how to deal with your trauma, you're going to be unbalanced the rest of your life because people are going to say things to you that are going to trigger you, and you're going to have pain, and you're going to have sorrow, and you're going to have anxiety and stress, and you're going to be mad as heck at them. But see, when you know your trauma response, and you have the tools that are in your pocket to pull out to deal with the trauma response, you do not stay in outer space. You might go to outer space. You might have to pull off the side of the road and go, I'm about to have an anxiety attack because you just sent me to freaking being homeless. And the person in the passenger seat is looking at you like, dude, I didn't say anything that's said you were going to be homeless. And you're like, oh, dude, yes, you did. Oh, yes, you did. And they're like, no, I didn't. But see, they don't know what they don't realize what your trauma is. And they don't realize that they're pushing your trigger button to your trauma. Only you know that. But if you stay in outer space, you're going to be in trouble. You can go to outer space. Okay. You can get on the struggle bus. You can get on the struggle bus every morning like me. But by 8 o'clock, you better get off the struggle bus because you got to get your dancing shoes on. Because if you stay on the struggle bus, you're going to have a bad day. You are. You're going to have a headache. You're going to have anxiety. You're going to be depressed. You're going to want to stay in the bed. All that comes with staying on the struggle bus. You're going to stay in your pajamas today. You're not going to want to answer the phone. You ain't going to want to get out of the house. All that crap is going to come down with you when you get on the struggle bus. But recognizing you're on the struggle bus, like, dadgummit, why do I get on the struggle bus every single morning? Like, it sucks. It does suck. It does suck to get on the struggle bus every morning. But it doesn't suck when I get off the struggle bus. it actually makes me feel stronger because I overcome staying on the struggle bus. I was able to get off the struggle bus and get on my right shoes. Because I go on the struggle bus in these house shoes that I've had forever because I feel bad. But when I get up and I get dressed and I take a shower and I put on a little makeup and I put on a little lipstick, I didn't even curl my hair, I just stuck it in a ponytail, but it makes me feel better. And that's why when you see me getting ready in the morning, it's because this is what it takes for me to get off the struggle bus. People are like, "Oh, Judy, you shouldn't put all that crap on your face." Oh, honey girl, let me just tell you, I know myself well enough to know that this is what I have to do to take care of myself. I don't put on makeup to impress you. Actually, I probably need a makeup artist to show me how to put on makeup. I do it for my own health. And it may seem silly to some people that why do you do that? I do it for myself because it helps me put on the right shoes when I feel good about myself. When I stay with nothing on and I go get on the struggle bus, I can't get off the struggle bus unless I take a shower, put on some deodorant, shave my legs, brush my teeth, take my medicine, drink my coffee, get ready, and go, okay, this is what I needed to do to take care of myself. This is what, and you need, maybe taking your care of yourself looks different from me. Maybe taking care of yourself is going to walk the dog in the morning and it's not putting on makeup. You have to do what's best for you. What's best for your Aunt Judy may not be the best for Kayla. It may not. And that's okay. That's what's unique about us was we're all different. But sometimes it takes someone taking a step in the right direction to teach other people how to put on the right shoes in the morning. If you're triggered by trauma, know that we all are, and you're not alone. The difference in you and other people is you know your trauma. You know your trauma. You know your PTSD. You know what triggers you. Like your husband, the husband is the worst that can trigger you, or your. Larry, you look terrible. Come here. Show Kayla your face. I think we may have to go to the doctor today. I messaged your nurse. I just don't know if that's allergies. If it was allergies, I would think the allergy medicine would work. Well, did they itch?
Oh, not right now.
Well, yesterday that eye was bloodshot, and it's not today.
I think they're getting better. That's it. Oh, hormone medicine. I think so.
He looks terrible. I don't know what's wrong. He said it's allergies. I'm not sure. He's lived with me for 7 years, and allergies have never done that to him. So I don't know. I've got a message into his nurse. See if she's messaged me back. She hasn't messaged back. It may be just allergies. I don't know. But he's taking allergy medicine, so you would think he wouldn't look like he'd been socked in the face. Anyway. All right, guys. PTSD is real. It's hard to break up with PTSD, but it can be managed. It can. You just have to have the right tools in your pocket and know what tools to pull out when you get triggered. And I hope today that you realize that, first of all, you're not alone. We all struggle. Every one of us here struggle with PTSD and triggers. It's life. but together we can get through it and we can make a difference. So today is Monday and you have choices. You can sit it out or you can dance. And today I hope that you get off the struggle bus and put on the right shoes. I will see y'all Wednesday. Bye.